Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today is day 16 of 30 Days of Sketches. Today's sketch was created by Ashley, who is the scrapping nerd. Now it is a 3-photo sketch. I'm actually going to turn it like this. So let's see what I can do. All right, guys, so I have pulled out a couple sheets of paper here. And as you know, I am turning the sketch on its side. Those stripy bits I am going to have represented by this brick paper, and it is going to be at the bottom of the page. So for this layout, I have 3 photos, and 2 of the photos are of the rail car with the big old plaques on the inside explaining what it is, and 1 is just the inside of the rail car itself. So I wanted to use all of these 3 photos on the same page, right? So I can have this one cohesive moment together. And it just turned out that this sketch really worked for that. Instead of doing a circle, I am going to cut out a square of my paper right here. This is an older My Mind's Eye paper, and I am going to have that here with that kind of khaki color background, you know, staying in the background. I decided to go with the square here because I'm going to bring in that little wood veneer circle over on the left-hand side of the screen as a circular element. So I'm still getting it in there. I'm just not exactly doing it the way it is on the sketch. So I have gone ahead and matted 2 of the photos in my favorite yellow paper from Paper House. And I'm going to go ahead and mat the 3rd photo as well. And then I am going to place them down here on the background. Now, in the sketch, when you turn the layout on its side, that center photo that is portrait oriented is straight up in the middle of the layout, and I just was not feeling it straight up in the middle of the layout. It is going to move ever so slightly, and then I'm bringing in that coppery, shining, shimmering, splendid glitter tape that has made an appearance multiple times for these Snoqualmie layouts. And I am just going to make sure that it stays stuck down to the back of the page. We don't need any little flip ups happening. And then I'm going to figure out where exactly I want my photos to land, how far down I want them on the brick, and just kind of figure that out. So once I figure that out, which is great, that didn't take too long, this is where I'm like, oh, I don't really like it directly in the center. I'm going to scoot it off to the side a little bit. That's going to give me a little bit more room to put my title over here on the left-hand side of the page as well. And I know I want to bring in a couple of these elements that I have pulled out from my Snoqualmie kit, and it's just a matter of figuring out how and where they work the best, right? Like, I don't want to just throw them on. I want it to make sense. So I decide that I really like this 6x8 paper that says enjoy the journey. And instead of just cutting that out and placing it down on top of my paper, what I've decided to do is individually cut out those letters. And what that does is it means I have saved part of that 6x8 paper because, you know, it's got airplanes on it, you guys, and I am always down for scrapbooking airplanes. It actually kind of feels a little bit weird scrapbooking the trains. I feel like I should be scrapbooking the planes. You know what I mean? So anyway, I am going to cut these out. I'm not, you know, too terribly upset if they are not exactly straight. I am not using a straight edge to do it. I'm just using my scissors to get these cut out. I really like this style of letter. I actually have stamps that are in the style of letter. And cutting these out actually reminded me that I had them. That is one thing I did not even... I even organized my stamps, you guys, by theme so I can quickly grab them. And I didn't even think about pulling any out for this kit. So when I start the Never Ending Kit next month, I'm going to have to pull some stamps out for sure. Okay, so now I have these all cut out, and I need to figure out where exactly I want them to live on the layout. So I am going to have it kind of overlap the photos. I want it to look like it is layered and it's not just in the center, in that polka dotted paper space. Like, I want it to feel like it is one whole cohesive part of the layout. I do decide that these need a little bit of pizzazz. I had toyed with the idea real quick in my mind of embossing them with some clear embossing powder, but ultimately I decided I liked the matte look of them, and the only thing I was going to do was grab some fun foam and put fun foam on each of the letters. That way it would have just a tiny bit of lift off of the page. It's not adding a bunch of weight and it's not adding a bunch of bulk. It's just giving me that tiny little bit right there. So like I said, some fun foam will make that happen. I didn't like the placement exactly, so I am going to mess around with the letters a little bit until I get them exactly where I want them. And as you can see, it does give me a little bit of a fit, but not too terribly bad because, you know, it gets figured out quite quickly. Quite quickly. So as I am doing this, I'm kind of thinking ahead about how I'm going to incorporate this wooden circle bit. And I do know that there are 3 areas of embellishment on the sketch, but I kind of embellish, I think, in like 4 places, I believe. Some is more embellished. Some areas are more embellished than others, but you know, it's just all a matter of balance, right? It's all a matter of what makes your page feel good, what makes your page feel full, and what makes your page feel finished. So I'm just going to get some adhesive on these bad boys so that I can place them down and move on to something else. Now, I was like, what am I doing? I forgot I ran out of the yellow fun foam and had to move to white. I had a little troubling moment right there. Now, also, fun fact, see those foam letter stickers up in the top of the screen right there, where it's on top of my little plastic bin? Now, these stickers, these foam stickers, are a pain in the tuchus because they don't want to stick to their background. They don't want to stick to the paper, but darned if they didn't want to stick to my little plastic bin, and I am currently scraping off the foam sticker part off of the plastic bin because it left it behind. So explain to me why paper scrapbooking stickers don't want to stick to scrapbooking supplies, but they want to stick to my plastic organizational supplies. Drives me insane. Absolutely insane. So yeah, once I'm finished getting those letters down, I'm going to start figuring out how exactly I want to decorate this page and get the layout finished, right? So I am going to put on these little foam stickers from that same foam sticker sheet, and that is going to go ahead and point where it's gonna, like, this is where your eye should look. It should say, enjoy the journey. So once that's on there, what I'm going to do is overlap a couple stickers down here at the bottom, and I'm going to figure out how I want this cluster to look. So this is going to be the biggest cluster, and that's because I really didn't want the layout to feel like it was, you know, falling down, right? Like, I didn't want the layout to feel like it was top heavy. And since I have all of those individual letters up there that I've placed, it puts a lot of weight at the top of the page. And I don't necessarily mean weight as in it's heavy, like poundage wise, but weight as it takes up a lot of visual space kind of thing. You know what I mean? Really doing a poor job of explaining it, but that is how I am feeling about it. So I went ahead and cut that wood veneer into 2 parts. That way I can use it twice on the page, because I didn't want to just slap down a complete circle on the page. I wanted it to be tucked. So I am going to figure out how exactly I want it to be tucked. And let me tell you guys, it takes me a hot minute to do this, right? Like, I am messing around. I'm trying to figure out what things I can layer. I'm trying to figure out where I can tuck the wood veneer, exactly what needs to be covered up, what doesn't need to be covered up, how I'm going to camouflage these numbers, because I did not cut the wood veneer in a way where the numbers are going to be right side up. It's a whole thing, you guys. Like, it's a whole thing that I am trying to figure out. Eventually, what I do to solve the issue is cut off that number 4 on the wood veneer bit right here. And once I do that, it kind of opens up my eyes and my mind to the possibilities that I knew were there with that piece of wood. So don't be afraid to alter your stuff, right? Don't get to the point where everything you have and everything you use, you're altering it to get it to make it work for you. But if you love something and there's just a little something off with it to work on your layout, just change it a little, right? Like, I'm gonna cut off that number 4, and then I'm going to get my layout finished. But there was a time where I subscribed to a scrapbooking kit club, and it's been a couple years now, more than a couple years. It's been a hot minute. But it felt like every single time I got a kit, it was too much work to make all of that stuff that I was buying work for me. It was a lot of creative cutting of the die cuts, creative camouflaging, all kinds of things. And at first, it made me feel good because I could make the product work for me. But then it did not make me feel good because I had to make the product work for me. You know what I mean? That's why I very, very rarely ever buy a full collection anymore. Because there are very rare times where I love a full collection so much that I am going to use it all. And so many times, so many of the icons and things in collections are repeated. Sometimes it's in a die cut, sometimes it's in a sticker, sometimes it's on a piece of paper, and it's like, couldn't you got a little bit more creativity in there, right? So anyway, I didn't want to spend the time making everything work. It was sucking the joy and the fun out of scrapbooking. But things like this doesn't suck the joy and the fun out for me. This just gives me a little challenge and a little thrill when I can make it work. So once that 4 was off, all bets were off, and I am absolutely loving this page. So I am putting some brads through the center of these flowers, and I am going to put a couple of the flowers on the layouts. So this is kind of something that's a recurring theme. Like, I feel like all of my pages have the same feel for this Snoqualmie section. Not all of the pages have these flowers, but enough of them do that it remains that same feeling. And also the copper is definitely a color that I have been using throughout. So I've got like overarching themes and colors and feelings for these layouts, and that's totally cool. There are some times where I don't want to do that. There are some times where I'm all over the gambit for a certain event, and that's totally cool too. But I'm definitely liking what is going on right now. Okay, so now we're going to wrap up embellishing this layout right here. I decide, yeah, I need another flower up here. Why not? Flowers are good. Flowers are good. So I'm going to go ahead and put through another one of those brads. And I think this is the layout where the brad tines give me a fit. It might not be this one though. I'm not sure. One of these layouts, the brad tines give me an absolute fit, and I have to pull it out and like reform them. It's a whole process. But I am going to get these florals up here next to that wood veneer circle. And I think that might be it for this. I'm not sure if I'm doing any more embellishing on this layout. Maybe some splatter, because that is something I seem to do a lot. Oh, nope. I'm like, I gotta add in a couple of these florals real quick. And another tag, because why not? Or another ticket rather, right? Like, let's just go ahead and put these things everywhere. So I'm gonna overlap 2 colors of tickets and tuck them underneath of my photo and the floral. And then I'm like, you know what? I might as well put this floral in here as well. So I'm going to do the same thing on a smaller scale since it is a smaller sticker, and get that ticket tucked under the photo and then underneath of the floral as well. I guess I don't add copper splatter to this one. I still could. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this layout. I have a couple of close-ups for y'all, and I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me here on YouTube and on Facebook and all of the places. I really do appreciate it, guys. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.